one major Tamil epic is Silappatikaram, called Anklet Epic. I'm sure some of you interested in literature might have known. It's a beautiful story. Those who don't know it, it has come in Amarchitra Katha also, with the name Kannagi. And the second instance is Kulasekhar Alwar. So he was a Chera prince who was specifically devoted to Rama. And he was the first person to conceive the child Rama or Ram Lalla as a deity. Next, we come to Kamba Ramayanam, which is the Tamil literary magnum opus, composed in the 12th century CE. For those who don't know how big is Kamba Ramayanam, it has 11,000 verses, not a small book. And the chandas that Kamban uses, it is called Virittam, which is 4 line. So it is twice the size of Anushtup Chandas. So Kamban's epic is as big as Valmiki's 24,000 verses of Ramayana. So this just shows the attachment of people to Ramayana. You shouldn't look at it in some very history, geography perspective, from a very accurate lens. What we currently need is the spirit that all are Rama's children. It is not like, one caste or one community says, we are the descendants of Rama. Bacha bacha Ram hai. So this is the ultimate summary of the presentation. From the very earliest times, Ramayana has been embraced in the Tamil culture, which is the most beautiful child of the Hindu Indian culture. Across different castes, communities and regions. So this is first assertions. Second assertion, it has found varied expressions in literature, temple legends, sculptures and epigraphs, classical performing arts and folklore. This is the second assertion. So this in itself is actually a topic for a PhD. This is an this can get very encyclopedic if you start really listing this down, and which is simply not possible in a short lecture. So what I am going to do is just give you some glimpses which will make you interested in the subject, and also try to give some kind of a bird's eye view of the whole thing. Okay. So that's going to be the so literature. So both the previous speakers predominantly focused on the literature, which is very natural, because if you take any regional culture in India, it is strongly tied to language, right? See, that's why even the sessions are arranged based on the language. And Indian languages are the great vehicles of sustaining the Hindu Dharma and its message across so many centuries. Not many people in our country may know Sanskrit. In fact, if you take the total Hindu population, a very minuscule percentage only knows some Sanskrit. And even among that, only a micro miniature percentage which truly understand a complex Sanskrit text, even like Gita. Gita is so popular, but I don't consider it as a simple text. Valmiki Ramayana is certainly simple, but not Gita. So, given this, it is the Indian languages which, through their literature, have sustained Hindu culture among the masses and also the classes. So, it becomes very important whenever we study any aspect of Hindu culture, and especially Ramayana. So, when we come to Tamil, it has a very ancient history. In fact, the Tamil literature starts at 200 BCE, something like 2200 years back, with Sangam literature, as I'm sure many of us are familiar with the word Sangam, with Sangam literature, right? So the Sangam literature consists of 8 anthologies called Ettu Togai and 10 songs, which is called Pattu Pattu. So there are these 18 books, which are nothing but collection of poems on life, predominantly on emotions like love, war, ethics, family life, etc., sung by different poets. And the poets come from all strata of the society. There is a blacksmith who is a poet. There are kings who are poets. And there are erudite Brahmanas like Kapilar, Baranar, Nakirar who are poets. So it truly represents a great, just like Vedic rishis. Actually, whenever I want to give example of Sangam literature, I just go to Veda. Just like Rigvedic rishis, there is so much variety. So are Sangam poets. And there are multifarious Ramayana references in Sangam literature, so many. And I am just giving one example of a poem from Purananuru. Okay, so here a poet called Unpodi Pasungudayar. So these poets, they used to generally knowledge, especially poetry, is always associated with poverty in the in Indian tradition. You know, there are many stories of Kavis being in very daridra dasha and all that. So this poet is also very poor. So he goes to many kings, and some are very generous. And this Chora king, Ilanjet Chenni, he is very, very generous. He gives so much of gifts and wealth to this poet, which makes the poet very overwhelmed. And he takes it to the family, such a poor family. When it sees so much wealth, the family is bewildered, and he describes the state of that family in this poem. கடுந்தெரல் இராமன் உடன்புணர் சீதையை வலித்தகை அரக்கன் வவ்விய ஞான்றை நிலஞ்சேர் மதரணி கண்ட குரங்கின் செம்முகப் பெருங்கிளை இழைப்பொலிந்தாங்க. I have given the translation. Looking at the riches bestowed by you, the state of my clan was like that of a clan of red-faced monkeys that were bewildered at the shining jewels that had fallen on the ground when Sita, wedded to the mighty Rama, was abducted by the Rakshasa. Simple poem. What is there in it? See, if a poet has to give such an example, okay, from Ramayana to describe the state of his family, it's a very everyday event. When very poor family receives so much riches, what condition it will be in? To describe that, he immediately thinks of Ramayana. What does this mean? This simply means Ramayana story was so popular in Tamil Nadu. You know, he doesn't write Ramayana. He is actually describing a situation in his life. And what a beautiful example he has given. There are these monkeys, you know, for forest dwelling monkeys just sitting. Suddenly some gold jewels are dropping from the sky. And when the monkeys look at it, they don't even know what to do with it. What is this? What is that? So this is a beautiful poem from Purananuru. There are many, many such poems. There is another poem where, you know, in the Rameshwaram coast, Kodiyakarai, Rama is discussing his war plans. And the birds are making so much noise. And then Rama just lifts his hand and just says, "Oh," and then all the birds stop. So Rama's words are like Veda, exclaims the poet. So this is, so in many such poems, there are Ramayana references, very interesting. And one Purananuru poem which sings the glory of tapasya. So the poet says that the tapaswins who control all the five senses are more worthy of admiration than the householders. You know the name of the poet? It is Valmiki Yar. Valmiki is the Tamil Tadbhava of Valmiki, and Yar is the honorific suffix. So a poet is named Valmiki Yar. Name of Valmiki was known 2200 years back in Tamil Nadu. People had named, someone has named a poet Valmiki. So that shows how ancient the Ramayana tradition was. And as usual, there are a lot of crackpot researchers, you know, saying that this is this. They use a lot of word derivations. So one person has written a book, Valmiki is a Tamilian. Very interesting. Everyone is a Tamilian, you know, Valmiki is a Tamilian. But you should appreciate his imagination that, so based on some such thing. So that is Sangam literature. Next, when we come to the early Kavyas of Tamil Nadu, which are after the 3rd century CE up to about 6th century CE. There are 5 such Kavyas, and all of them are Buddha and Jaina oriented. Because during that period, both these religions were ruling Tamil Nadu, and the Vaidika religion was somewhat down, not wholly disappeared. But these poets were great. So, one major Tamil epic is Silappatikaram, called Anklet Epic. I'm sure some of you interested in literature might have known. It's a beautiful story. Those who don't know it, it has come in Amarchitra Katha also, with the name Kannagi. You can read it. I won't go into the story. So the hero and heroine of the story, Kovalan and Kannagi, so some bad circumstances befall their life. The person becomes very poor and they decide to leave the city. And this person lived in the city as a great merchant with lot of fame and other things. And when they leave the city, the poet says, Arundiral ilanda ayodhi pole perumpeyar nagaram perum peduttadu. The Pugar city grieved so much, so sorrowful, like how Ayodhya grieved when Rama left that city. So here again, see the popularity of the epic. And in another place, which is, they reach Madurai eventually, so that they can make a life in Madurai, and they stay in a Gokula like setting. Okay, Ayar body it is called, cowherds settlements. So when the evening comes, the husband is away. He has gone into the city to see whether he can find some business, and the wife is worried what to do. So then the cowherds sing a song to their god Vishnu. So it is called Aichiyar Kuravai. So there are many songs. In fact, M.S. Subbulakshmi has sung these. Many of you know. Vadavarayai matta ki vasugiyai nana ki. It starts. So each song sings the glory of Vishnu. And there is one, so it talks about Narasimha Avatara, it talks about Vamana Avatara. There is one song dedicated to Rama Avatara. So beautiful. It says, Taviya Sevadi Seppa, Thambiyodum Kanpondu. So you measured all the three worlds with your feet. So with those feet becoming red by suffering, you walked the forests all the way with your brother. Taviya Sevadi Seppa. Seppa means Sigappa. Thambiyodum Kanpondu. Went to the forest with the brother. Sovaranum por madiya. Thul ilangai kattalitta. So you destroyed this great Lanka with all its armed fortresses. Such great Rama, Sevagansir Kelada Seviyenna Seviye. What use of those ears that don't hear the glory of such Rama? Thirumalsir Kelada Seviyenna Seviye. What use is of the ears that don't hear the glory of such great, brave Rama? So this is a song in Silappatikaram. You come to Manimekalai, which is a Buddhist Kavya by Sitalai Satanar. So there is a episode in the Kavya that extols the glory of Annadanam. In fact, one of the character in the story, Kaya Sandigai, she is lamenting about how all creatures in the world suffer with hunger. And she says at one point, hunger devours the food. Whatever food you produce, that's not sufficient. It devours the food like the ocean swallowing all the stones thrown by the monkeys while building the bridge for the divine Rama. See the metaphor. குரங்கு கொணர்ந்தெடிந்த நெடுமலை எல்லாம் அணங்குடை அளக்கர் வயிறு புக்காங்கு இட்டது ஆற்றா கட்டழல் கடும் பசிப்பட்டேன் என் பழவினை பயத்தால். And eventually in the story she actually gets Akshaya Patra. Because there was so much suffering in her heart, the Buddhist deity comes and gives her the Akshaya Patra so that you remove all hunger in the world. But there, this Ramayana example is given by the poet. And in another episode, in the same epic, there is a debate going on. There is a Vada Vivada in a big assembly where people from different sects like Buddhists, Jains, Vaidikas, Shaivas, Vaishnavas, all of them come present their views. And there is one Tarkika who puts a logic. You know what is the logic? This is very interesting. Rama won automatically means Ravana lost. You don't have to say that again, right? So he gives this as an example. You know, example, a Tarka argument. மீட்சி என்பது இராமன் வென்றான் என மாட்சியில் இராவணன் தோற்றவை மதித்தல். Such was the popularity of the Ramayana story. Then we come to Nalayara Divya Prabandham. As you all know, it's a sacred Sri Vaishnava scripture of 4,000 verses sung by 12 Alwars, who, again, you all know they all came from different communities. There are so many rich and evocative portrayals of Ramayana legends in the Divya Prabandham. And I'm not going to talk all of them. I'm just giving glimpses here, as I said. And some of these portrayals are very unique to the native Tamil soil. Okay, so that's what I'm going to highlight. The first one is from the Tondaredi Pudi Alvar. So we all know the story of how squirrel helped Rama to build the bridge. Now this story is popular all over India. There is a squirrel sculpture in the Rama Janmasthan temple in Ayodhya, right? And you know, in Tamil, we actually have a proverb that some big work is undertaken, some noble work somebody is doing, and one person he is not able to help much, then he will say, "Na anil madri edavadhu seyyarene. Let me do something like a squirrel," he says. You know, it has become so popular. And where did it come from? If you really trace the first instance of the story in the literature, it comes in the text Tirumalai by this Alvar, Tondaredi Podi Alvar. குரங்குகள் மலையைத் தூக்க குளித்துத்தாம் புரண்டிட்டோடி தரங்க நீரடைக்கலுற்ற சலமிலா அணிலும் போலேன். So the Alvar says, I am like that squirrel. The squirrel sees each monkey bringing a big hill and helping Rama. You know, the squirrel is so small. And what it does, it just goes and rolls in the sand and then rolls into those stones. I am like this. Oh, Ranganatha, the Alvar says. So this comes, most probably, this was a folk legend in Tamil Nadu. And Alvar picked it up and put it in his hymn, and it became so popular all over India. And the second instance is Kulasekhar Alwar. So he was a Chera prince who was specifically devoted to Rama. And he was the first person to conceive the child Rama or Ram Lalla as a deity. In this ashram itself, we sing his lullaby. Mannu pugal kosalaidan manivayiru vaitavane. It starts. And every one of the songs in this lullaby ends with talelo, talelo. So talelo means jojo, jojo. You know, in every language, we have some wording to put the child to sleep. So Alvar has sung this lullaby to the child Rama in the Tamil tradition. That is very important. It was a Tamilian who first sang lullaby to Ram Lalla, and we can be very proud of that. And the Alvar has another unique mental feeling which is very rare. We all know Nayaki Bhava, right? So when a bhakta thinks he is like the love of the Lord, and we have Dasya Bhava, we have Sakya Bhava and all that. Here this Alvar has a very strange Bhava. He imagines him like Dasharatha. Okay. Oh, what a mistake I did. I sent Rama to the forest. I cannot live. Like this he laments. கானகமே மிக விரும்பி நீ துறந்த வளநாட்டை துறந்து நானும் வானகமே மிக விரும்பி போகின்றேன். Oh Rama, you went to the forest. I can't live without you. I will go out of this world. There are poems of him like this. And the third Alvar is Thirumangai Alvar. And Thirumangai Alvar was from a warrior clan. It was called Kallar. You know, Kallar also means wayside robber. But he was a chieftain in a very fighting spirit oriented warrior clan. And he has sung two dashakas, which are called Pattu in Tamil. One is called Kulamani Duram, and the next one is called Pongattam Pongo. So some very funny words. What are these? So both these are actually some dances. You know where these dances are? So this is in the Tamil literary aesthetics tradition. It's in the Tamil Kavya tradition. So when the war happens and the party that wins, okay, so they get onto the chariot and they do one dance that is called Venri Kuthu, means like Vijaya Nritya. And the defeated parties, there are some people still left in the defeated parties. Okay, not everyone is dead. They also do a dance. What kind of dance is this? This is to indicate the winner that, oh, please spare us. We are lost, but don't kill us. So Alvar has imagined these both are called Kut. So the Rakshasa armies, after Ravana is dead, there are still some Rakshasas are left. They are doing this dance in front of the Vanara army. Look at the imagination. So these are dances in the Tamil tradition, and these songs are very delightful. And Kulamani Duram means it is like tying some bells in your waist. The bells will sound, and do some dance, turning upside down, etc. Do some funny things to create some entertainment for the winner. And Pongattam Pongo is like Pongalo Pongal kind of thing. Oh, we are gone. Please spare us. Please spare us. So, um, so then in one song, the Alwar said, the Rakshasas are saying, Neelan Valga, Sudanan Valga, Angadan Valga, Yendru Kolamaga Adugindro, Kulamani Durame. Then they say, Neela ki jai, Angad ki jai, Hanuman ki jai. See, now we say this, please spare us. And so this is from the Tamil tradition. He has taken the Kuttu from the Tamil tradition and beautifully incorporated it into the Ramayana. And next we come to Kamba Ramayanam, which is the Tamil literary magnum opus, composed in the 12th century CE. Very well known. I am not going to go into many details about this. For those who don't know how big is Kamba Ramayanam, it has 11,000 verses. Not a small book. And the chandas that Kamban uses, it is called Virittam, which is 4-line. So it is twice the size of Anushtup Chandas. So Kamban's epic is as big as Valmiki's 24,000 verses of Ramayana. So to my knowledge, except I think Jagmohan Ramayana in the Odisha language, there is no other Ramayana which is so big. Ranganatha Ramayana, yes. Couplets, okay. So this is a great Kavya. And it primarily follows Valmiki's Ramayana with very minimal and nuanced embellishments, not many side stories or other things. It's very important because Kamban, as I have mentioned, lived in 12th century, by which time Uttarakanda was very popular. Kalidasa had written it, Bhavabhuti has written it. And as I have put in the next bullet, Kambar's wide and deep erudition in both and Sanskrit and Tamil classics, philosophy and aesthetics are very visible. He is not like an ordinary folk poet or something. Very, very learned poet. In fact, in Tamil, we have a saying, Kalviyil Periyavan Kamban. Kamban is great in learning. He was not an emotional poet, a very learned poet. But he decided not to write Uttarakandam, which is very important. Because we call Kamban as Kavi Chakravarti in Tamil, and every other Ramayana writer did not write Uttarakanda, because Kamban did not write it. So that way, Kamban provided such a glorious example. He exercised his judgment in not writing that later Kanda because he did not feel very comfortable with it. Okay, this is very important. And he lived in the Chola country, and he belonged to a caste called Uvachar. So this Uvachar means, scholars say that it is a traditional Kali temple priest. And even today, there is a caste called Kambar in Tamil Nadu. He'll say that Kambar Pujai, they'll say. So there are village priests who are actually named Kambar. So it's a non-Brahmin priest caste. Okay, when I say priest, don't imagine it's a Brahmin priest. It's a non-Brahmin village priest. That was the caste in which he was born. Some historians say it is temple musician. Whatever it is not one of those high castes that was. But he had such a great scholarship, and his chief patron was Sadayappar, who is called Sadayappa Vallal, wealthy and generous landlord of the Vellalar caste. Vellalar is a agrarian landlord caste in Tamil Nadu. And this work, I'm not going to go into Kamba Ramayanam because I have already given some lectures even here. I'm just highlighting the aspects, from the caste standpoint, which is one of the main themes, Samadharmam in Ramayana. So his work, though it was written by a person from the Uvachar caste, It received wide acclaim and divine endorsements. Two divine endorsements as per the legends. So he was doing a reading of his Ramayanam in Srirangam temple. So you can still see that mandapam. It is opposite to the Tayar Sannidhi. It is called Kambar Mandapam. So Kambar is supposed to have staged, done the Arangetram or Ranga Pravesha of his epic in that mandapam. So one additional chapter which Kamban has added that is not in Valmiki is Narasimha Avatara. Okay, he has intentionally added it. Vibhishana tells the story of Prahlada to Ravana, saying that there was one big guy, Hiranyakashipu, he was also killed. So what about you? All your varas are useless. So, and the Narasimha Avatara is described so beautifully by Kamban. In fact, it is a mini Kavya inside this big Kavya. It's so beautiful. And when the verses describing the Narasimha's Avatara, he reads out, there is a roar of a lion that is heard. From where? There is a Narasimha Sannidhi adjacent. It is called Mettalagiya Singer. Still there. There is a Narasimha Sannidhi, and a roar is supposed to have come from there for a few minutes, blessing the poet that you have my Ashirvada. This is one. The second, this is from the Vaishnava side. And when Kamban's work becomes so popular, the other scholars say, see, this is not enough. You have written such a big kavya. You have to get endorsement from Tillaival Andanar, which means the 3000 Dikshitars in Chidambaram, who are considered as a great authority. So, and it is said that those 3000 people, now there are not 3000, their numbers have reduced very much, but they are still there. Okay, so it is said that they will never come together except on some birth, death, or some temple festivals. They will never come together at one place. And one boy from such a family, he is dead with a snake bite, and they are all there. Oh, the boy is dead. So Kambar goes there and he reads the Nagapasha Patalam, the episode of Nagapasha, where Garuda comes, and because of his power, Lakshmana is relieved from the Nagapasha. As he is reading those poems, the boy comes alive. And the Dikshitars are amazed. And then they say that you are a divine poet. You are not ordinary poet. See, look at that. So these legends, so they put Kamba Ramayanam at such a high pedestal. And it is respected by the learned people from all sections of the society till today. Such is the glory of Kamba Ramayanam. Next we come to Ramanataka Kirtanai. So I am not talking about all the Ramayanas in Tamil. I am just picking some. So this is a beautiful work, a much celebrated Tamil musical opera, and the songs from this are rendered even today in many Carnatic music concerts. So when I cite some songs in a minute, you will realize. And this was authored by Arunachala Kavirayar, 1711 to 1778. So this Kavirayar lived before Tyagaraja. See, the musical form called Kirtanai was known even before Tyagaraja. Okay, so this composer, he is called Sirgali Arunachala Kavirayar. He is from the Vaishya caste called Chettiyar in Tamil, and his story is very interesting. He was a village money lender, sahukar, what we say, pawnbroker. So he takes some jewels from the villagers, lends some money. He was doing that business, and once he went to the Dharmapuram Shaiva Mat and stayed there. And the Mathadipati was so impressed with his learning in Tamil, and he told him, you don't do this, you become a Tamil teacher. He asked him to come to Sirgali from his village Tillayadi. So he came there, he started teaching Tamil. And two Brahmana music vidwans, Carnatic music vidwans, came to him and requested him to write Ramayana Kirtanas. Knowing his Tamil prowess, he immediately took it upon himself and then composed this opera. Okay, and those vidwans, Venkataramayar and Kodandaramayar, so they sang his kirtanas all over the Tanjavur Kumbakonam area, and that's how they became popular. And these kirtanas are deep in emotion and meaning, and they abound in many lively and sparkling phrases and metaphors used by common people. And this is a musical adaptation of Kamba Ramayanam, you can say. there are 250 plus Kirtanas. It's a 400-page book, not a small work. Okay? And many of you may know, some of the Tamil people may know these Kirtanas. Yappadi manam tunindado சாமி வனம் போய் வருகிறேன் என்றால் இதை ஏற்குமோ பூமி. This is Sita telling Rama. Rama says, oh, I am going to the forest. You be here. Take care of your mother-in-laws and all that. And then Sita's reply, how dare is your heart to tell me that you are going to the forest? Will this earth bear this? Whatever you just told me? See, she uses the word Sami. So now some Vidwans are singing it as Swami. But if you read the book, it is Sami, which is how even today some Tamil, in some communities, the wives call the husband as Sami, like that. And in old Tamil movies, Swami, we have heard that. So he has put that expression in the Kirtana. And then she further says, Karumbu muritar pola sollalachudo. You are breaking my heart like people break sugarcane. Vartayal kollamal kolle. You are killing me with your words. Irumbu manam undachidallo. Has your heart become iron, O Rama? Like that she says. And then there are other Kirtanams. This is the Kirtanam where Hanuman declares him as a Ramaduta in Ravana's court. Ramasami Dutananada. Ramasami Dutananada. Nanada yan Peranumanada. Adada 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 Ramasami Dutananada. Thus you know this Ada means hey, like that. Da. In Telugu it is there Ra. Right? So that's how Kavirayar's Hanuman talks to Ravana, so appealing to the common people. And then the other Kirtana, Sharanam Sharanam Raghurama, where the Samudra Raja comes after making Rama wait for 3 days. He comes, oh, and then Rama gets angry. Samudra Raja says, oh Rama, you are a king. I am also a king. You understand the problems that kings face? You know, in some region of the ocean, there was a big fight between 2 fish groups. Matti மீன் ஒன்றோடொன்று மல்லாடி அவர் பூணும் வழக்கு தீர்க்க போனேன். You know, I was called to settle, make them, make peace with them. That's why it took 2 days for me. இதற்கோ உன் மனம் கோணும். எட்டும் ரெண்டும் தெரியாத எனக்கு இத்தனையோ காணும். என்ன பிழை செய்தாலும் நீயே பொறுக்க வேணும். I don't even know the difference between 8 and 2. You know, such fool I am. I am just a sea king. So please pardon. Such beautiful expressions. And when Hanuman reports Drishta Sita to Rama, Kamban says, contain Sitayai. Sa Sita, Drishta Site. Sita, Valmiki says. But Kavirayar says, contain Sitayai, contain Raghava. He uses 3 contain. You know, so you will actually be in tears if you read if some very good Vidwan sings these Kirtanas with emotion. It moves you in. And he even takes from Valmiki. I was astonished. Panikala varijam pola niram kusi, she says. The lotus that got withered in the snow. That is Valmiki's expression. He has put it in his Kirtana. Panikala varijam pola niram kusi. Yes. So such erudite Kavirayar. And this play was very popular in the 18th, 19th centuries. Now nobody stages this as a drama, but it is there in the Carnatic concerts. And when it was staged as a play, people from different castes enacted the role of the characters. So there is an anecdote which Tanjavur Swaminatha Athrayar has recorded. So Tyagaraja, he goes to some place. So he gets some Sanmanam. So there is some bhajana program, some things. He sings some Kirtanas. He is given some shawl or something. And on the way back, in Bullakar, Tyagaraja is coming, some sounds are heard. And he remembers that, yeah, there is the Ramanatakam happening someplace. So he asks the cart, he stops the cart, he comes to the play. The play is going on. Those days that mashal, only the small fire torches are there. Nobody notices Tyagaraja sitting. And the Ravana Vadha happens. Rama is very tired after fighting. Somebody brings a stool, and then the Rama sits there. And at that time, hey, Ayyavaru has come, someone says. They notice Tyagaraja here. They call him to the stage. And Tyagaraja is so full of emotion. And then he goes, he touches the person who is acting as a Rama. That actor is a blacksmith. He's a local blacksmith. And he falls at his feet. And with his Angavastram, he just removes all the perspiration from that actor's body. And whatever shawl he has got, he puts it on the shoulders of that actor. Oh, Rama, are you tired after this war? He asks. So this is a real anecdote which Atreya Mama has. So such has been the influence of this Ramanatakam on Tamil people. And the last entry in the literature section is Takkai Ramayanam. See, this is another musical adaptation of Kamba Ramayanam in the Kongu region, which is the Coimbatore, Tirupur, Salem, that area. In the 1600s, so Takkai is a musical instrument, as you see in that picture. It's exactly like Damaru. Okay. So the author, Emberuman Kavirayar, is of Shangagiri. He is from the Kongu Velalar, or the Kounder community. Incidentally, to which our beloved BJP leader Annamalai ji also belongs to. So, this Emberuman Kavirayar was a revenue officer, and from his work we know that he is very well versed in Sanskrit and Vedanta. And he was patronized by the Kongu ruler Nallatambi Gangeyan. And there are many interesting expressions soaked in devotion and a lot of delightful references to local culture in his Takkai Ramayana. So he just describes the route in which Vanaras are searching, and suddenly they enter the Kongu country. Okay? And they search in all the hills of the Kongu region. Kurunda Konge Karainatil, he says. Vanaras are entering the Kongu region. Kollimalai, Seranmalai, Seranda Kanjamalai, Alaivai, Tiruvarai, Sengotu Malai. These are all the name of the hills, Kongu region. Varnda Sangagiri, Palai Malai, Vedagiri Mudalai. I am just singing like as they with the Damaru rhythm. Okay. Arnda Nagaveri Ninni Nannir Adiminai Tedinare. In all these Kongu hills, they just took bath in the flowing Kaveri. He says, in addition, search Sita in one hill, take bath in Kaveri, search in another hill. What a vivid imagination. Vanaras are searching Sita. So this is Takkai Ramayanam. Interestingly, this text was not even known to people till about 50-60 years back. Then suddenly the Tamil Nadu Archaeological Survey of India, ASI, found it and they published it. And the only surviving manuscript, it was preserved by Shantalinga Veera Shaiva monastery in the Kongu region, not in any Vaishnava mutt. Very interestingly. And many of the Kongu Velalar edicts and copper plates, still, the old ones, they start with Sri Ramajayam. So that shows the influence of Ramayana in the Kongu region. Legends and sacred geography. So when we come to sacred geography, this is a term which is used in a lot of academic writings to denote two Sthala Puranas. Okay? So every region of Indian subcontinent, they have association with Ramakatha. Tamil Nadu, no exception. So where Jatayu Ravana fight happened, there are some 25 places. So Nashik in Maharashtra, Lepakshi in Karnataka. So he said some Jatayu Para in Thiruvananthapuram, like that. So this just shows the attachment of people to Ramayana. You shouldn't look at it in some very history, geography perspective, from a very accurate lens. So Tamil Nadu has many such sacred geography things. The foremost, all of you know Rameshwaram, the Ramasetu, Dhanushkodi and Tirupullani. Tirupullani is Darbha where Sri Rama was lying on the Darbha grass for 3 days waiting for the. And these sacred spots are very old. There are references in Skanda Purana about these places. And there are references in Tamil Bhakti literature, the Shaiva literature, Tevaram, talks about these places. And then in the entire east coast, from Nagapattinam all the way to Rameshwaram, there are Kodiyakkarai. Actually, Kodiyakkarai is just another 80 kilometers down from Nagapattinam. That entire east coast, there are so many small shrines, Ramapada. You go to any coastal village, they will say, sir, there is a Ramapada shrine here. You know, such is that whole coast. They think that Rama's footprints are there. And I told you the Jatayu Moksham. So 3 towns in Tamil Nadu itself. Tiruputkuri near Kanchipuram, Vaiteswaran Koil, which is a Shiva Kshetra near Kumbakonam, and there is a Jatayu Tirtham in Tirunelveli. 3. So in all these 3 places, they say Jatayu Moksham happened. And Kanyakumari district has some very interesting phenomenon. There are many towns. There is no Sthala Purana, but the name of the town itself has a Ramayana connection. So, Villukuri means mark made by the bow. Will means bow, Kuri means mark. So, they said that while going to the coast, Rama put his bow there, and there is a wet sand. So, the mark of Rama's bow got imprinted here. So, this place is called Villukuri. There is another big rock. There is actually a series of rocks. One big boulder, one small boulder. It looks like some huge human lying around. That is called Takkai Malai. When Rama killed Tataka, she fell and she became like this hill. Okay. There is another hill, Marunduval Malai, which means the hill where medicine lives. What is this hill? So, actually the hill has some very rare medicinal herbs still. And even some siddhas and yogis live there actually. There are caves in the hill. And so they say that when Hanuman was carrying the Sanjeevi Parvata, one piece fell and that became this hill. So those of you who are visiting Kanyakumari, visit this hill which is beautiful, Marunduval Malai. So there are so many places. In fact, one person has written a book. Anna was talking to me a few months before that. He says that the entire Ramayana happened in Tamil Nadu, including Rama's birth. There is a place, Ayodhya Pattinam. so much. The Sthala Purana has really gone to some very excessive mode. So that is sacred geography. Next we come to legends. So there is a pan-India tradition of many royal dynasties and warrior communities identifying themselves with Rama's lineage. Okay. So if you go to Kachwahas among the Rajputs, they say that we are descendants of Rama. And Guru Gobind Singh, right? So Bedhis and Sondhis, so they are the descendants of Lava and Kusha. So there has been this trend among Kshatriyas primarily. So Tamil Nadu is no exception. So the Chola kings, they proclaimed themselves as belonging to Surya Vamsha, which is Rama's dynasty. They included Raja Shibi among their ancestors. He is called Sembian in Tamil. They even gave him a Tamil name, Shibi. And Pandya chieftains. So particularly after the Pandyas are generally Chandravamshis, because Chola took Surya Vamsha. So the Pandyas said we are Chandravamshis. But after the 12th century, when the Pandya kingdom was completely disappeared, some were left. The dynasty was not fully rooted out. They established another small kingdom in around Tenkasi, not Madurai. So those kings added Rama to their names, like Ativira Rama Pandyan, a very noble king, also a poet. Varaguna Rama Pandyan. So before Pandyan, there is Rama in all their names. And Vanyars, a prominent community in the northern Tamil Nadu, they claim themselves as Kshatriyas, coming in the lineage of Rama. They have something called Vanya Puranam. See, just like there are Puranams of Vishnu Purana, Agni Purana, many jatis have their own Puranas, right? It is there in Telugu lands, it is there in Karnataka, even in North India it is there, in Tamil also. In Vanya Puranam, they somehow establish a connection. See, Purana gives a very fertile room for imagination. When even the 18 main Puranas itself have so much imagination. We cannot blame the authors of these Jati Purana. They are only following the precedent set by the main Purana writers. But it is good. It is somehow it is making the community, there is a bondage between the community and Rama, Krishna, like that. And Kongu counters, they also have a legend. They say that they came from Ganga Kulam, which is a branch of Ikshwaku Kulam and all that. So I am just recording some history here. This is not to say that this is there is a historical evidence for all this. Okay, what we currently need is the spirit that all are Rama's children. It is not like, one caste or one community says we are the descendants of Rama. Bacha bacha Ram hai. It's a beautiful expression. All communities own Rama and Ramayana. I won't talk much here. Temple sculptures and epigraphs. I will give you a bit of a visual delight. Historical continuity of Rama worship in Tamil Nadu. Many Ramayana references in epigraphs and copper plates. Again, for want of time, I am not citing any of them, but it's there, it's recorded. Many Ramayana sculptures in distinctive styles, starting with the Pallava era in the 6th century CE, Chola, Pandya, Vijayanagara, Nayaka, all the periods have Rama sculptures, Ramayana sculptures. All prominent Vishnu temples have Rama shrines, and there are dedicated Rama temples in many places, all across all regions. In the Tanjavur regions, there are Pancha Rama Kshetras, Adambar, Mudigondan, Vadur, Tillai Vilagam, Paruttiyur. Yeah. Okay. So many Shiva temples also contain sculptures and depictions of Ramayana, not just Vishnu temples. So some famed sculptures. So the first one you see here is from Srivaikuntham. Look at the poise of Rama and those two Vanaras. They are maybe Angada and Hanuman, or Angada and Sugriva. And this is a 5-feet sculpture. You can actually, 6 feet actually, you can stand near that Rama and take a photo. And the other one is in Tirukkurungudi, where look at the way the Vanara is at the feet of Rama. How lovingly that it could be either Hanuman or Sugriva. And this is the scene where Rama is in the Prasravana hill. Okay? Waiting for, actually when Sugriva comes and meets Rama in the Prasravana hill. So that is the scene. That's in the Tirukkurungudi Nambirayar temple. And this other sculpture in the Kumbhakoணம் Ramaswamy temple, in one pillar, all 4 sides, Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, Hanuman. And each of them are like 6 feet. Such beautiful sculpture it is. And there is a sculpture of Sugriva Pattabhishekam also in the same temple. And then in the Pullamangai Mahadeva temple, which is a Shiva temple, there are miniatures. It is like a 1 feet by 1 feet square. That's it. 1.5 feet at the most. There are Ramayana miniature sculptures. So this is Shiva Dhanurbhangam. In such a small space, see how much detail is portrayed. This is Ravana Jatayu fight. And this is Vali Moksham. So there is Vali and so many Vanaras in grief at Vali's death. And Tara is also here crying. And bronzes, those are stone sculptures, enchanting Rama bronze statues of Tamil Nadu. So Rama statues with unique aesthetic features and distinctive postures. The Tribhanga posture of Ramayana, you see, is very unique to Tamil Nadu. Nowhere else in India you see that. The master Shilpi who conceived it, he was a genius, great Rasika. 9th, 12th century, and many worshipful murtis. So here you see the Pancharama Kshetra murtis actually. This is Tillai Vilagam. Look at the majesty of Rama here, Sita, Lakshmana, and this is Adambar. And each Rama's face expressions. So one has Gambhirya, one has Madhurya, one has, of course, we have the famous Vaduvur Ramar, where Saundarya is his characteristics, you can say. And this is Paruttiyur, folklore and folk arts. So in Tamil Nadu, Terukuttu is a very famous folk street theatre, it is called. But Mahabharata is a more popular folk theatre form. Actually, Mahabharata is much more popular than Ramayana in Terukuttu because it is associated with this Draupadi Amman temple. So Draupadi is worshipped as a Shakti. So during her festival, in some specific months, there is a 12-day Mahabharata street Kuttu performance. So Ramayana is not that much popular in Terukuttu. It also happens, but much less. And the Mahabharata has more Veera Rasa in Bhima, etc. So that's what is popular in Terukuttu. But there are other forms like Villupattu, the bow song. So this is it was a very popular folk art form till a few decades ago, but almost near extinct now. So Subbu Arumugam was a legend. He passed away, and not many people. And there were specific music compositions like Irama Kirtanam written for Villupattu performances. And the author of that is Pandaram Thiruvanandam. He was from a Shaiva Vellalar community in the Travancore region. And there were many other uh, such compositions like Ayodhi Kadai, Ramar Vanavasam, Vali Vadai, etc. So I think this folk art needs to be revived because it is connected to bow, which is connected to Rama. So one folk researcher was telling me that the Villupattu itself was actually created to tell the Ramayana story. Ramayana is the most popular story told in Villupattu, just like Mahabharata in Terukuttu. And Tolpavai Kuttu is another leather puppet show where Ramayana stories are very popular. So this again a folk art form specifically created to tell the Ramayana story. This became popular in southern Tamil Nadu with the migration of Telugu communities like Naidu and Nayakar. They are the ones who predominantly do these leather puppet shows here. And this is performed over 10 days in villages. And the songs sung during the performance remain oral tradition. Some points about folklore. So this is my last slide. Okay, so be prepared with your questions after this. So Ramayana folklore and art forms narrate a myriad set of strange and exotic stories. Not just Ramayana, anything in folk is like that. Many of them not part of any known Ramayana text. So they are created in the imagination of the village folks, often connected with their joys, sorrows, frustrations, etc. But they use Ramakatha as a medium to express that. So some of these stories are virtuous and devotional. The squirrel story, which I described some time back. And there is another story in the Tamil folklore where um, Hanuman eats the remnants of what Rama had eaten, Uchishta. So it's a great bhava of a Bhagavata. Alvar also mentions this in one of his verses. So this is there in some folk Ramayana story, but that is very good. And there are some of the other ones have perverted and deliberately spiced up concoctions. So they are reflective of the weakness of the ordinary human minds that create these stories, like the Shurpanaka taking revenge, these kind of stories, and Sita being the daughter of Ravana, and then Ravana puts her in some box and sends her, and all these masala stories. So Tamil folklore studies, so this is the last 3 bullets are very important. It is in touches something which the previous speaker said. So far dominated by academics with Marxist or Christian missionary outlook. So all the folklore departments are taken over by them already in Tamil Nadu. Okay. The Palayankotai one is very popular. All the published material on this subject, they portray the folklore as a revolt against Brahminical upper caste hegemony or oppression of women. They claim that some of the denigration of Hindu divinities, like showing Rama in poor light, showing Hanuman in poor light, so these are done without any sense of reverence by the village people deliberately. So they are against the Brahminical hegemony. This is how this research try to establish, but totally suppressing many dharma aspects and the devotional aspects which are also there in the folklore. It is a mix-up, basically. It is not only that. So there is an urgent need to study these things afresh with reinterpretations, bringing out the harmonious and sacred aspects that form the basic bedrock of this folklore, despite the distortions and perversions. So this is a thing, and with that I end my talk. Sri Ramajayam.
Please tell about what is that? Before a few days, you have sent some palm leaves, Valmiki Ramayana translation.
Yes. So in the Tirupattur, Kalahastishwarar, I think, some temple in the Ramanathapuram district. So when they were doing some renovation of the temple, so inside one of those, see the Tamil Nadu temples have some huge gopurams. Those gopurams have some inner chambers, etc. Also secret chambers. And in one of the gopurams in Tirupattur temple, they found a big stack of manuscripts, like 200-year-old Tamil translation of Valmiki Ramayana. So they have got Bala, Ayodhya, Aranya, Kishkinda, half Sundarakanda. The remaining portion manuscripts are not found. Complete translation of Valmiki Ramayana in Tamil, done by a Vellalar scholar. So similarly, some 2 years back, another news came in Vaniyambadi. When somebody was digging the field, they actually found a Tamil translation of Valmiki Ramayana again, which was done by a counter poet, Kongu Velalar poet, 250 years old. So still a lot of things about Ramayana in Tamil Nadu.
Sitaram, thank you. You covered quite a few aspects. I was very curious about some of these Kunguvelar kind of stories. Is that continuing in the last 100 years or so? I mean, what is the changes happening? Do they even know that these things
Oh yeah.
they have?
Of course they know, right? They see every jati in India wants to preserve its history, which is good. I mean, it's a natural urge. See, every person also wants to know about his family's roots and his family history, right? So the communities are very interested in preserving their history. They also do a boasting, which is an accompanied aspect to that. But at least for with that in mind, if they preserve the traditions, it is good. So, in fact, this Takkai Ramayanam, etc., came out from those scholars only. And the Kamban Kalagams, which are like, literary forums to talk about Kamba Ramayana, discourses and other things, they are very active in the Kongu region. They are active in a few regions, but in the Kongu regions, there are more. The Kovai Kamban Kalagam is the one which has published the complete Kambaramayanam text with detailed commentary. The whole thing is available in the internet also, in the Tamil Virtual University.
The topic is about Samadharma in Ramayana. So basically, the revival of Kamban is one aspect of it. The second part is we know the counter narratives which has been going around in Tamil Nadu about Rama, Ravana, etc. Right?
Oh, yeah.
How are therefore the empowerment of these communities is going to be the answer for that, right?
Right. See, I deliberately didn't want to talk about it because there is so much talk about it already. What is the point in me talking about the same thing? I want to bring about some of these gems which people may not know about, like the Ramanatakam, Takkai Ramayanam, etc. So I didn't touch upon that aspect. That is a political thing, unfortunate one. So it has 100 years history, right? How Dravidian race theory was created by Robert Caldwell. They attempted it in all southern states, all over India for that matter. But it clicked in a few places, right? It clicked in some tribal regions where they said that tribals are different race and others are different race. It even played a part in Christian conversion of tribals, etc. In Tamil Nadu also it clicked. We should say it clicked now, because even after 100 years we are fighting it, right? There is no point in saying that it didn't. Got diluted. That is true, but it is not gone. Unfortunate political development. And even when this was happening, again, if you really read the history of the Dravidian propaganda, even when so much anti-Ramayana propaganda was going on, many Tamil scholars, they were opposing it. In fact, the Kamban Kalagam itself was started as a reaction to the Dravidianist propaganda. It didn't exist. It was started in 1950 by one Kambar, 1953, I think. Just the year after Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy burnt Ramayana books in Salem. So this gentleman in Karaikudi in Ramanathapuram, he started Kamban Kalagam. Kambar Adipodi means Kambar Padadhuli. So he put his name like that, Sa Ganesan. And then Rajaji and many other influential people, they supported it. And see, because there was so much Tamil mania all over Tamil Nadu, right? Tamil, everywhere. Glory to Tamil. So they wanted to use that to propagate and preserve Ramayana. So they projected Kamban as a great Tamil Kavi. Now, what Kamban has written ultimately? It's Ramayana only. He has not written the story of Annadurai or Periyar or Stalin. What he wrote is Ramayana. There is a negative propaganda and there are reactions to it, and it goes on.
As Jatayu said, this is political. For last 100 years, it remains only as political regarding Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, even though all this political propaganda are going on, it did not enter into the culture, even even as an iota. And while I was listening to Hari Krishnanji's lecture, some poetry about Tataka entered into culture itself in some festivals they are singing.
Right.
It was like, what to say,
Yeah.
my heart was broken.
Right.
Fortunately, it did not happen up to our times in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
And culture is continuing with Rama Bhakti only. And they are very clear about it.
Absolutely. See, in Tamil Nadu also such things they are done. In fact, there was one Ravana Kavyam written by one Pulavar Kudandai, which is a complete ulta of Ramayana story, and it was even included in the textbooks in the 19th. When I was studying in my 9th or 10th, it was there in my Tamil textbook. Horrible. It was portraying, but now everyone has forgotten what was that stupid Kavyam and what was that poet. But Kamban's glory is reigning like a sun shining in the Tamil literary sky.
The narrative by the left liberal folks, that's always there. They are put forthing a negative picture of the Vedic Sanatana Dharma by misinterpreting our text. Of course, there are counter narratives from the Vedic Sanatana Dharma side, but I hope they are in islands. Like Rangaji, he's doing from his end. Nityananda Mishra from North India, he is rebutting Devdutt Patnaik, Amish Tripathi and all. Sa Ganesan from Kamban Kazham has done his bit. What I was asking, what I am about to ask, from the Sangh side, is there any effort made in the past to coordinate people across the region so that we learn from each other who is doing counter narrative to the left liberal
Right.
book? Is there any effort made
See,
from the Sangh?
Well, actually, it is better that it all remains decentralized, right? Because anyway, if someone does something and if he does it in a very good way, it becomes visible in the public. You don't really need to the Sangh is not really an intellectual organization. For it is more of a service and what you can say. I mean, a Boy Scout kind of organization where they come do their work, they contribute to the society, they do seva in a very big way. See, but literature, culture, scholarship, these kind of things it's very difficult to do it in a military like setup, right? It requires a lot of patience, it requires study, it requires imagination, it requires creativity, it requires skill. So let each person do his bit. And if a scholar wants to organize a program, let Sangh help. That's it. That is where they can come in. Why do they need to coordinate and connect everyone and all that? That's simply not necessary. In fact, it's more of a trouble.
Sitaram,
Sitaram.
I have a question which is related to Ramayana and science. You were talking about various places. One was Tirukurungudi. I was just recognizing that there is Mahendragiri nearby, where we all know that Hanuman had a takeoff from there, and it has been preserved in the folk that this is where Hanuman took off. And anyone in ISRO or someone who would have known this folklore or they know Ramayana, have they got into that thinking and set up an ISRO propulsion center in Mahendragiri?
I don't think we can take the folklore and connect like that, because ISRO has their own ways of studying. They have done the geographical mapping of almost every place all over India, right? So there are satellite launch centers from Sriharikota, which is not very far, just maybe some 100 kilometers above in the same coast, and where if you see the map, it actually bends like that. Ideal place. And there is one in Chandipur, in Odisha, right? So they have already done all this study, and I really don't think they need to rely on folklore, because now we have very precise instruments in science to figure out which are the best places to put satellite launch pads and things like that. So the Ramayana connection remains a sacred geography. We should leave it at that. But by the way, if you just visit that region, there are so many windmills. So Vayuputra took off from the Mahendragiri, and the Vayu Shakti generation, the whole highway is filled with windmills, because it is the winds there are supposed to be very conducive for electricity generation. See, isn't that a beautiful thing?
Yes. I think that is where I have seen windmills, the maximum windmills anywhere.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Sitaram. First of all, very thank you for your this nice lecture. So I was reading some of the historians like Grierson. So in context to development of Rama, worship of Ramachandra. So he said that like people knew Sri Ramachandra like from ancient times, and many Kavyas were being written, and like you talked about Sangam literature and all that. But he said that Rama Bhakti, especially worshipping Sri Ramachandra as Bhagavan, Parabrahman, it has started from like around 11th century or 12th century. So I wanted to ask you that, do we find like some inscriptions or some evidences
Yes.
that in order
So absolutely
text-
untrue, right?
yeah.
See, the Silappatikaram
Yes.
is dated by the scholars
Yes.
before 6th century, certainly. So some people say 4th century, some 5th, some 6th, but nobody places it after 6th century, because the post 6th century, the Jainism had almost gone from the popular royal patronage in Tamil Nadu in a big way. And even the internal evidence in Silappatikaram points to that, okay? So at least from 6th century, we have a very solid evidence from Tamil literature. And Silappatikaram talks about Rama as God, Vishnu. See, it says, what is the ear? What you say? Seviyanna seviye. What use is the ear that doesn't listen to the glory of Rama? And so literary evidence is even older. In fact, if you take even Sangam poetry, places Rama as God. So that is 200 BCE to like 300 CE. Okay. So the literary evidence is there. By 6th century, the Pallava edicts actually mention Rama as God. So that is there.
Also, sir, like I thought that how he can like leave Kalidasa. Kalidasa in Raghuvansham also says Rama Vidhano Haririthyuvacha.
Absolutely.
When we say Rama, he is Hari.
Yes. In fact, Silappatikaram perhaps is even older than Kalidasa, or maybe contemporary. But Sangam is definitely older than Kalidasa, and that place Rama that emphatically mentions Rama as divine, or God, or Vishnu.
I have a question followed by that, an assertion also I wanted to make. There are a lot of translation work in Kongu Jesam you told, which are the translatory work of from Valmiki Ramayana. So are they the translation of Valmiki Ramayana, or it's a rewritten version of
No, not. See, there are re-narrations which I already mentioned. So they are adaptations from Kamba Ramayanam, not from Valmiki, because Kamba Ramayanam is the reference for Tamil. Okay. Every other poet or narrator simply follows Kamban because it's such a great work. So these Valmiki Ramayana translations were specifically done, perhaps, to because people wanted to read original Valmiki Ramayana in Tamil. So to serve that purpose, some scholar has done the translation. See, like Jnaneshwari, for example. So Jnaneshwari is pretty much the translation of Bhagavad Gita in the Marathi language much earlier, even before the modern era. It's something like 11th century. Jnaneshwar translated the Gita shloka by shloka. Very rarely we see such works in Indian languages, right? So in every other thing that you see in Indian languages is the poet will write in his own words. It will never be like a direct translation from Sanskrit anywhere. To my knowledge, Jnaneshwar was the first one who did that. Okay? So other languages took a very long time to come to this culture of actually translating the Sanskrit work directly. In fact, I will say only in 19th century, after the printing press became popular, that thing started happening, because if you translate, you need to really publish it and reach to many people. There was no technology in the previous times, and everything was it was through kathas and such things. Everything was getting propagated. So even someone translated in writing, it will be in prose and nobody will read it, because they enjoy poetry and other things. I think those are the reasons why direct translation did not happen till some point. But once the printing press came, in all Indian languages, Ramayana, Mahabharata got translated. Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, everywhere. And that played a very big role, because now people can hold a book and read the original.